Did you decide on a date for your wedding?
Yeah? Why?
What do you mean, why? You know I do shift work, so I'll have to make sure I'm off that day. I've got to find some time to go shopping to get something to wear, make hair appointments. There's lots of things I'll have to schedule and do to get ready. I've been looking forward to seeing you get married ever since you were a little girl.
Huh? You're coming to my wedding?
What? Of course I am. I'm your mom.
But I don't want you there.
Huh? Why not?
If you think about it for just a bit, I think you'll see why.
No, I don't see why I wouldn't go. Why don't you want me there?
Because my fiancé's whole family is doctors. They've been doctors for generations. Do you know how embarrassed I'd be if my high school dropout of a mom showed up?
But to not have your own mom show up to your own wedding, wouldn't that look even worse?
I'll just make up some excuse like you're sick and you can't go outside, or something like that.
Don't say things like that. Please, just let me come. I've been looking forward to seeing you all dressed up in your wedding dress walking down the aisle as long as I can remember.
I don't care about that. I don't want you there.
You've never mentioned this before. Why are you just bringing this up now? Did someone on his side say something about me?
Nobody has said anything directly about you, but I can sense how they feel. I don't think his dad or his mom think very highly of you. They've all got MDs or PhDs, and you're sitting there without even a high school diploma. What do you think they'd think? The only reason they're even allowing me to marry their son is because I at least have a degree from a reputable school. Being associated with you is a huge strike against me. Honestly, I'm considering cutting you out of my life altogether.
What? You're not. You don't have to go that far, do you? I raised you your whole life, and you're just going to abandon me now?
My fiancé is the most important thing to me right now.
I'm not going to do anything to offend anyone in his family. And I promise I won't do anything to embarrass you.
If you were beautiful and dropped out of high school, maybe I could justify it. But you look like a regular old woman. You've got gray hairs all over the place, and your hands and skin are so wrinkly you look even older than you are. With a high school dropout of a mom who looks like you, they're gonna do nothing but tease me about it for the rest of my life.
There's nothing I can do about how I look. I've been working from morning till night for the past 20 years just to keep a roof over your head and food on the table. I haven't had the time or money to go to a beauty salon or worry about how my skin looks.
Why the heck wouldn't you care about your own looks? You damn well should.
Look, you know your grandfather was living with us because he was too sick to take care of himself. I not only had to work to raise you, I had to look after him at the same time. And I had to pay all of your grandma's hospital bills before she died too. I had to support everyone by myself. And by the time both of your grandparents had passed away, you were starting college. With all that tuition, everything's been really tough for me. No matter how long or how hard I worked, there never seemed to be enough money. Why can't you understand that?
Stop with your excuses. You only had to work that hard because you dropped out of high school. If you'd have gone to college, you could have gotten a decent job that paid well. You brought this all on yourself. A dropout single mother? My God, you're a disgrace. Why didn't you at least finish high school? Is it because you were too stupid?
I couldn't finish high school because of circumstances beyond my control. That's why I was working so hard, to make sure you never had to go through what I went through. That's why I worked so hard to help put you through a decent college. I did all this for you because I love you. I thought if I could see you get married and be happy, all my hard work would be worth it.
Why are you trying to make it sound like I owe you something for doing this? It's a parent's duty to raise and provide for their children. If you didn't have the funds or weren't prepared to support me until I was an adult, you shouldn't have given birth to me. But you did, so it's only natural that you work your butt off to provide for me until I'm old enough to get out on my own.
Why are you talking to me like this? I'm your mom, and I love you. I agree with some of your points, but you have to understand everyone has different circumstances, especially us.
It doesn't matter. You just don't fit in with the kind of family I'm marrying into. You better not come to my wedding. If you really care about me like you say you do, you'll stay away. Mom! Why did you say you're not paying for the wedding? The bride's family is supposed to pay. It's tradition. My fiancé's family already agreed to help out and pay half. So why are you suddenly refusing to pay any of it? Do you know how embarrassed I am right now?
What are you talking about? Why should I pay? You said I'm an embarrassment to you, and you forbid me from even going to your wedding. You expect me to pay for half of it after you did all that to me? I'm not giving you another cent for anything ever again. You're an adult now. If you want something, pay for it yourself.
So now you're just going to abandon your own daughter? You're heartless.
Say whatever you want. No matter what you say to me, you're not getting another cent.
Whatever. Do whatever you want. I don't know why this surprises me at all. I'm done with you. I'm never speaking to you again, so don't ever try contacting me again. You're not my mom.
What's this? Are you saying you knew?
What? Knew what?
That none of my blood is in your veins.
What are you talking about? None of your blood is in my veins? Is this some kind of joke?
It's no joke.
Huh? Then you mean... Are you saying you're not my real...
I knew I'd have to tell you sometime, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. So I've been trying to keep it a secret from you. When you were only 3 months old, I took you in.
Huh? Wait. Hold on. Then, my parents? My real parents are somewhere, right? Who are they?
Do you want to know who your real mom is?
Of course. I want to talk to her. Give me her number. I want my real parents to be at my wedding.
Huh? What are you talking about? You're gonna forbid the woman who raised you your whole life to come, and instead, you're gonna invite someone you've never met?
Yes. Even though I've never met them, it's better than having the mother of the bride's seat empty at the wedding.
Don't you want to know what kind of person gave birth to you?
Well, of course, but there's no doubt they'll be better than a high school dropout. I doubt there is anything worse, lol.
Really? Okay. I don't know your real mom's phone number or where she lives, but I think I have some proof of who she is somewhere in my house. I'll find it and send it to you. When you see who it is, you can try to track her down yourself and get in contact with her.
Okay, I will. I've always wondered how someone like you could have been my mom. I suspected long ago that you weren't. We've got nothing in common. I've always believed a child should be with their real mom.
I've always treated you as my own daughter. I devoted my entire life to you. I did all that for you, and you're still going to say something like that?
I told you before, stop acting like I owe you something. I can't believe this. You've had me tricked this whole time. I want my real parents at my wedding. Get whatever information you have sent to me right away. You fraud. You tricked me again, didn't you? How could I be related to someone like that?
From the way you're acting, I see you found your real mom, huh?
Yeah, I found her. When I got the records you sent me, my fiancé hired a private investigator to find her.
Then invite her to your wedding like you wanted to. That's what you wanted, isn't it?
I'm not inviting someone like that.
Why not? No matter what, she's a better mom than a high school dropout could be, right?
I'm not inviting that thing to my wedding. She's nothing but a criminal. She tried to kill someone to get insurance money. She went to prison.
That's right. But she's out of prison now, isn't she? She should be able to go to your wedding.
What the heck is going on here? Explain this to me.
If you must know, your mom is my older sister. She's really beautiful and knows what men want. Guys have been lining up to be with her since she was young. And because of that, she's always thought she's better than everyone else. So everyone in our family hated her. One day, she decided she wanted to be rich, so she married a rich guy 10 years older than her. But I guess she decided splitting his money wasn't what she wanted, so she devised a plan to try to get it all. I don't know if she planned on trying to kill him before they got married or not, but it seems she wanted all his money, and maybe even some extra from his life insurance. But before her plan could work, her husband found out she had been secretly poisoning him, and she was arrested. By the time all that was found out, she was already pregnant.
You mean with me?
That's right. But her husband wanted nothing to do with the daughter of the woman who tried to kill him, so he refused to take you. That's when I decided to take you, rather than have you put up for adoption. My parents used all the savings they had to hire a lawyer to help my sister, but it wasn't enough. The cost of the trial and the extra mouth to feed was too much. I had to quit school and find a job to help my parents out and to raise you.
So, that's why you didn't graduate high school?
Some people said it wasn't worth doing all that for a child of someone like her. But even though your mom had done a horrible thing, I didn't think you should suffer for it. I did my best to shield you from the sins of your mom. I knew if you were associated with someone like that, it would make your life even more difficult.
That's why, even up till just last week, you try to keep it a secret from me?
For the past 24 years of your life, I loved you and raised you like you were my own. But that wasn't enough for you. You wanted even more than that. And when you told me I wasn't your mom, I thought you knew. So, I thought you wanted to know who your real mom was. Recently, I had been considering never telling you the truth, and just taking that secret with me to the grave.
So, you were never planning on telling me about my real mom?
I wanted to at first, but it was mostly my parents who thought I shouldn't. When my sister was sent to prison for attempted murder, my parents were so ashamed. They didn't want to be seen in public anymore. They got rid of pretty much everything in the house that was tied to her, even the baby pictures they had of her. We moved away from that town, and my parents never spoke of her to anyone again. But those things I sent to you, those are what I secretly took from my parents before they destroyed everything of my sister's. If you ever wanted to know who your real mom was, I figured it would be best if I had some proof, or something that might lead you to her. I'm glad I kept those things now.
No, you sent those things to me so my fiancé would find out, didn't you? You kept those things to use against me, didn't you?
What are you talking about? I gave you those things because you said you wanted to know. They helped you find your real mom, didn't they?
Shut up! Think about what you've done. Now my fiancé's family knows that the bride's mother is a criminal. This is terrible!
Oh? Is that worse than her mother being a high school dropout? I guess you never considered there are worse things than that, did you?
It's not just that. They know my mom was only after money and tried to kill her husband to get it. What do you think they're gonna assume I'm doing?
Well, I can't blame them for that. If I was in your fiancé's position, I'd be concerned that you'd be trying the same thing that your mom tried too. I'd be scared you might be trying to take my life.
My fiancé's parents said they want the wedding postponed, which is basically their way of saying they don't want their son marrying a criminal's daughter because it'd be bad for their reputation. I'm sure it's just a matter of time before the wedding is canceled altogether.
That's not surprising. It's an unfortunate situation.
What are you talking about? That's what you'd say if this was happening to someone you barely knew.
That's because it is. I'm not your mom. You told me that yourself not too long ago.
Well, yeah, but I didn't know my real mom would be such a horrible person.
You chose the person you had never met over the woman who raised you your whole life. I went along with your decision and gave you the information you wanted so you could find your real mom. You found her. So, I'm not your mom anymore. And that means you're not my daughter anymore.
I was angry. It was a slip of the tongue. It could happen to anyone. I didn't mean it.
You didn't say it. You typed it. Are you saying it was just a slip of the finger?
I only have one mom. You know that. You were my mom then, and you're still my mom now.
You can't just flip sides whenever it's convenient for you. Your fiancé is about to dump you, so now you want to come running back to me? Do you think I'm gonna fall for that?
Mom, I'm sorry. I apologize. Please forgive me. Mom! Please, I'm sorry!
I know you meant what you said to me before. Now you've got to take responsibility for your decisions. You're supposed to be an adult. If you can't take responsibility for your own actions, I must not have raised you very well. But from now on, I'm not going to be looking after you or helping you out ever again. I devoted my entire life to you. I worked hard and gave you everything I could possibly give you. I have absolutely nothing left to give you. And that includes any love. After that, Leah's fiancé's parents were completely against the wedding after finding out who Leah's real mom was. Their family was very concerned with how other people viewed them. They were willing to put up with me being related to them, even though I didn't finish high school. But it was clear they wanted nothing to do with Leah's real mom and the things she had done. Needless to say, the wedding was cancelled. Leah had been quite proud and had been telling everyone how her husband-to-be is a young doctor, and how she was going to be marrying into an entire family of doctors. But when she had to tell them that the wedding was cancelled, it was such an embarrassment for her. As if that wasn't bad enough, Leah was quite popular on social media and had a lot of friends and followers. So when word got out about her real mom being in prison for attempted murder, word spread really fast, and all of her friends tried to distance themselves from her. I guess they weren't really her friends after all. Leah ended up being left all alone. I guess she couldn't stand how everyone she thought really cared about her left her so quickly, so she tried contacting me again. But I couldn't bear to speak with her again, so I blocked her number. After that, I haven't heard anything more from her. She's not my daughter anymore, so she'll have to learn how to deal with things on her own. I, on the other hand, am no longer working to support anyone else. I'm going to be focusing on my own life from now on. My life begins now.
Hey, Lindsay, guess what? What's up? I got my first big paycheck. Oh yeah? You remember how I finally got my first real job last month, right? Well, I finally got paid, and it feels so good. Congrats, that's really great. That's it? What do you mean? You're not gonna ask me how much I got. Alright, how much did you get? Well, let's just say I got way more than you get at your job. You know where I'm working, right? Yeah, I know your company's pretty famous. You really talked my ear off about it once you got hired. Oh, I don't quite remember doing that. Luckily for me, though, I got this amazing job because of how smart I am. Unfortunately, the same can't be said for you. Yeah, you're a real genius. You've got to be super jealous. Oh yeah, totally. I wish I could be super smart like my big sister. That's what I thought. I mean, I'd be jealous if I were you too. You dropped out of high school and started working. But you're really just scraping by, right? I know your job barely pays you anything. Yeah, well, I'm not living some super luxurious life or anything, but I'm saving up a lot and I'm living a nice, simple life. Oh, I find that hard to believe. You're not sending any money back to Mom and Dad, right? That's because Dad told me I didn't have to. Of course he's gonna say that. Since I got so much money with this paycheck, I'm going to be a good daughter and send a bunch of money to Mom and Dad. Oh, well, maybe it's a good idea after all. Do you think I should? Oh, could you even send them $1? There's no way you can afford to send them anything on the salary you're making. It was kinda tough at first living on that money and being on my own, but I had a lot of freedom to do what I want. And now I make even more than I did when I started. So what? How could you be happy as a poor high school dropout? Considering everything, I'm actually pretty happy. Obviously, I can't work at a big, famous company like you, but I'm doing everything I can to make a living for myself. Well, that sounds kind of pathetic if you ask me. I don't think it's pathetic at all. Oh, I guess I'm being a bit harsh on my little baby sis. I'll take it easier on you from now on. Thanks, I guess. Even though you're a dropout, you're really trying hard not to ask for any handouts from Mom and Dad, right? That's so nice of you. Yeah, I promised myself I'd never ask them for money. What a mature adult you've become. It doesn't really feel that way. Well, anyway, I'm a little busy at the moment. Good luck with your job. Hang on there. I forgot to mention. I'm in charge of a really big project at work right now. That's great. I heard from one of my coworkers that there's this really incredible freelancer, right? Apparently she's always super busy because of how good she is at her job. We want to try and contract her to do some work for us. And they put me in charge of making a deal to get her to do some work for our company. They really did that even though you just started working there? Of course I won't be totally alone. My coworker is going to be there, but just to watch over me. But I bet the reason they gave it to me is because they really expect big things out of an outstanding worker like me. I bet everyone at the company is super jealous of me already. It sounds like you have your work cut out for you. Don't let them down. I don't need you to tell me that. You know me. I've always been the genius of the family. Sure. You always really studied hard in school. You were even top of your class every year, weren't you? I always looked up to you for that. Of course you did. My plan is to get my foot in the door with that big-time freelancer. I know she'll really take a liking to me as soon as I get the chance to talk with her. If I do that, then I'll get a promotion for sure. I don't just want to be a normal company grunt that never moves up in the ranks. I've got to climb to the top.
While I'm glad to hear you've set some pretty high goals for yourself, I just hope you don't set your expectations too high.
What are you talking about? You think a brilliant person like me could ever fail?
No, that's not what I mean. I just mean you have to be careful to remember that you're working at a company, not just on your own. You have to treat people right.
I don't remember ever asking a dropout like you for advice. I'm the one who should be giving you all the advice.
All right, well, I won't say anything else then.
Of course you won't. Just sit there and nod your head like a good little girl when I talk to you.
Ha ha ha, okay, got it. Well, anyway, like I said, I'm kind of busy right now. I guess I'll talk to you later.
Why didn't you say anything?
What do you mean?
Why didn't you say that you're the freelancer my company wanted to get a contract with?
Oh, yeah. When you were telling me about that project you were assigned to, I thought maybe it could have been me you were talking about. I didn't know for sure until we actually saw each other in person.
How could you, of all people, be so successful as a freelancer? I have no idea how this could have happened.
I think I mentioned it to you once before.
Well, I don't remember that.
Well, I did. You probably don't remember because you don't care about anything in my life.
Don't you have any idea how big and famous my company is? We only want to work with the best of the best. They won't just take some bum off the street. Why would they have any interest in you?
Well, thanks for the compliment, I guess. Do you remember our conversation when we had the meeting?
No, not really.
Well, do you at least remember how you acted? Or did you already forget?
I acted normally. What are you talking about? Nothing out of the ordinary for two sisters talking with each other.
We met each other for business, not for fun.
Yeah, well, who cares? I don't work for you. What makes you think you can act so high and mighty all of a sudden? The coworker I was with was furious after the meeting.
Was your coworker mad at me?
Of course he was.
I don't quite think so.
Oh yeah? Why's that?
Well, for starters, you weren't being professional at all. You talked to me like we were at home or something. Not only that, you just assumed that the contract was a done deal.
Well, of course it is. If I'm negotiating with my sister, it's obviously not going to fall through. There's no way you could ever say no to me.
I don't think you understand how busy I am. I really have a lot on my plate right now. So much that I'm constantly turning down work from other companies.
So what?
That means that just because I have an offer from your company doesn't mean I have to take it.
Are you stupid? Are you going to turn down my company's gracious offer for work?
I'm still on the fence about it.
How could you be so dumb to turn down a huge contract from a company like mine? What an obnoxious thing to hear coming out of a high school dropout like you.
I don't think me being a dropout is relevant anymore. We're both working adults now.
It's absolutely relevant. Above anything else, we're sisters.
That's especially irrelevant right now. Also, thinking back on what you said, the reason why we met the other day was so I could hear more about the offer from your company. That kind of presentation you gave was supposed to persuade me to accept the work from your company. But from the way you talked to me, there's no way I would take the offer if it were a normal situation. I walked away not really knowing what the work was going to be like.
All right, so then why not just ask me now?
What?
Why did I need to explain everything to you then? You could have just asked me any time if you wanted to know something. If you didn't understand something, just ask me right now. I'll be nice enough to answer any of your questions.
That's not the point. What I'm saying is that would have been totally unacceptable if we weren't sisters. Your coworker wasn't mad at me. I really think he was mad at you for how badly you treated me.
Absolutely not. You were totally unfriendly and cold towards us. That's why he was mad. I bet he couldn't believe how rude you were to your own family.
Is that what he said?
No, he didn't have to. I'll be meeting with him later today. He'll probably tell me then. But don't worry. I'll make sure to put in the good word with him for you.
What's that supposed to mean?
Right now, he probably doesn't think very highly of you after we met. So like I said, I'll make sure I say you're not always that rude. That way we won't have to retract our generous offer to you. Just leave it to your big sis to clean up the mess you made. You should feel lucky to have such a kind sister like me.
You've really never changed, have you, Katie? For someone as smart as you, I'm sure you really believe you're a genius.
What's that supposed to mean? Is that a compliment or an insult?
I'll just leave it at that. Let me know how it goes after you talk with your coworker. I'm sure he's got a lot to say to you.
Yeah, I bet he does. Make sure you let me know once you've accepted our offer. And when you do, make sure you say how it was all thanks to me. You'd really be helping me climb up the ladder at my company. If we're going to be working together, we have to help each other out, right? What's his problem? I have no idea why he was so pissed at me. How ridiculous is this?
I'm guessing you talked with your coworker?
He said my demeanor isn't professional at all. He said I was being disrespectful towards you. Oh, he must be crazy or something.
Katie, I really want you to think clearly about what he's saying. You can't think of me as your sister. You have to treat me like you would any other client. What would happen if you treated any other client the way you treated me?
What are you talking about? Like I already said, above everything else, we're sisters.
Yeah, but even as sisters, the way you acted was unacceptable. I totally understand why your coworker is mad at you. Even after he said all that to you, you still think you're right?
Well, maybe I shouldn't have been so casual in the way I talked to you, but more important, did you really turn down our offer?
Yeah, I did.
Why? Are you trying to embarrass me?
I don't have to say yes to any work that I don't want, even if we are sisters. To be honest, I still have no idea what the job was going to be like.
I told you to ask me if you didn't know.
That isn't the point. The point was that you were supposed to explain everything when we had the meeting. That's the whole reason why I was there.
All right, but just please hang on. Please come back again and I'll explain everything to you. That would fix this, right?
I really wish I could. I would love to come back and hear what you have to say. But honestly, I have so much on my plate right now. I really don't have the time to come back. Sorry.
Don't think that you could just say sorry. This is really gonna kill me. You should have heard the way my coworker was screaming at me.
He was really that mad?
Yeah, because I told him that since we were sisters, there's no way you would turn us down. I said, leave it to me, I'll take care of everything.
You probably shouldn't have said that. Just because we're related doesn't mean I'll say yes to you. Why would you think that?
Oh, everyone is really mad at me right now. How could this happen to a perfect genius like me? I was valedictorian at college, for crying out loud. Oh, I can't take the feeling of other people being mad at me.
Well, genius or not, at the very least, you need to have some common sense.
What are you talking about? I'm the master of common sense.
I'm not so sure about that. For someone that was put in charge of a project this big, I think it's pretty obvious you should never have treated me the way you did, even if I am your sister.
Did you even notice your coworker's reaction when you were talking to me? He was white as a ghost. If you really did have any common sense, you would have realized his reaction and changed your attitude. I did notice, but that's not why he reacted like that. He was like that because he was shocked at how disrespectful you were being. You've got to be crazy if you think that's what happened. You should have been paying more attention. Anyone else would have noticed immediately what was really happening. I really thought that's what was happening. Oh, what's the point of telling me this now? Now that I think about it, I kind of warned you about the way you were acting. I said, if we're going to do business together, I think it'd be better to treat me like you'd treat any other client, even if we are related. But you just laughed it off, didn't you? All right. I apologize for the way I treated you. But please, just accept our offer. I already told you, no. Unfortunately, I don't have the time to keep talking about this with you. I won't bring any of this up again. I can't believe you. I never thought you could be so cruel to your own sister. Wait a second. Are you doing this because you saw how much I make? What are you talking about? Oh, that's why, isn't it? You wanted to bring me down because I make so much more than you. All right, well, if that's what you think, I have some news for you. I actually make 10 times as much as you. There's no way in hell you make that much. How could a high school dropout like you be so arrogant? Go ahead, you can look at my pay stubs. I really think it would be a good lesson for you. You can see how much money a freelancer is capable of making. I'd be happy to teach you all about it. Who do you think you are? What could an idiot like you possibly teach someone like me? You didn't even make it through high school. You're out of your mind if you think you're better than me. Is that right? I sure hope your ego doesn't get the best of you like it is right now once you get back to work. Who are you to talk to me that way? You probably barely make $2,000 a month. You must be stupid if you think you make 10 times what I do. You're way off. You're missing 2 zeros. Bullshit. Do you think I'm an idiot? You really think I believe you make $200,000 a month? Are you so stupid that you can't do basic math? I'm not lying. The most I've made in a month was $200,000. You'll never see that much money in your whole life. You're being serious. Yup. That's why I can take or turn down any job I want. Of course, in the past, I started off only making a couple $100 a month. And as you know, I'm not the genius you are. So I really had to pull myself up by my bootstraps and work my butt off. I'm actually really thankful because in a way, you were my motivation to work this hard. All right, well, if you really mean that, well, why don't you just take the job? No, I already told you that's not happening. To be honest, it's not that I don't want to work with your company. I really just don't want to work with you. Are you serious? Even though I flat out refused the offer from my sister's company, she tried to use her power as my sister to force negotiations to make me accept. I had no choice but to get my parents involved. Of course, they absolutely ripped her apart for the way she was acting. After that, things didn't go so well for her at her company. A year later, she handed in her resignation and changed jobs. She eventually got a job as a telemarketer. I don't think she'll be bothering me again, especially since I've completely cut off all communication with her. I bet despite everything that happened, she still thinks of herself as a genius. But if you ask me, how smart are you if you get totally owned by a high school dropout like me?